So I sat next to you've got a lot of truth. Well, we had, I went to Pakistan last year. But it's fascinating.
My Lords, Ladies, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Memorial Gate Ceremony 2024. We are here today to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the battles of Imphal and Kohima. I would like now to call on our Chairman of the Memorial Gates Council, Lord Cullen Moria, to come and say a few words.
The best way to predict the future is to look to the past. In May last year, I was part of a parliamentary delegation to Israel. And none of us predicted what would happen on October the 7th. The horror of that day and the tragedy that has continued for the months since then. Since 9/11 in 2001, we have had one conflict after another, and the world never seems to learn. We never seem to learn. Today, the ceremony is the first one where we miss our founder, Baroness Strela Flaver. She was a driving force. It was her idea, her vision, her determination for years from 1998 to raise the money, to get the permissions, the beautiful architecture. The architect is here, I'm sure, as he is every year, culminating in 2002 when Her Majesty the Queen inaugurated these gates. And she said during her speech, "We are guardians of a precious flame, and it is our duty not only to keep it burning brightly, but to keep it replenished for the decades ahead." And as chair of the Memorial Gates Council, this is my second term as chair over the years. It is my privilege to thank so many people, so many institutions, the Royal Parks, St. James's Park and the Green Park, the Royal British Legion, whose support we greatly value, the band of the Scots Guards. Weren't the Commonwealth Children's Choir wonderful? I think they deserve a huge round of applause. We've also got huge... sorry, we have to pause here for just a second, please. I would like to thank the Bishop of Loughborough for being with us, Viscount Slim, whose late father was a huge mentor and inspiration to me and to so many, the Earl of Minto, who's here with us, as well as Baroness Patricia Scotland, Secretary-General of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth March, members of the Commonwealth March, arrived just here. I don't know where they are. I think they're standing there at the back. They have walked from the Chuthry in Brighton on Friday to arrive here, a cumulative 3.5 million steps, raising awareness, raising money for the Commonwealth, for the armed forces. We thank you, and they deserve a huge round of applause. This is Major Moneyrise last ceremony. He has been a stalwart. We cannot thank you enough, Money, for your service to the Memorial Gates and to the Council. Thank you very much. Thank you. And I would like to thank my Council members, and in particular, Major General Sir Evelyn Webb-Carter, my Vice Chair, who's an absolute stalwart. Even we couldn't do this without you. Thank you very much. Baroness Srila Flather was an amazing, amazing lady. She broke one glass ceiling after another, and her incredible career will always be an inspiration to us all, and you will hear more from her son, Paul Flather, in due course. So these gates, they commemorate the service and sacrifice, the 5 million volunteers who served in the First and Second World War. Without their service, without their sacrifice, we wouldn't be here enjoying the freedoms that we do. And this particular ceremony is very special because we are celebrating the 75th anniversary of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth, as the Secretary-General, Baroness Scotland said, and as Mr. Speaker, Lindsay Hoyle said, we are a family of 56 nations. And we're privileged to have 33 speakers from the 56 nations present here with us today. We had a great celebration in the House of Parliament yesterday, Mr. Speaker, in Central Lobby, never before, decades before, and this morning the flag-raising ceremony in the House of Commons, and here today. So to all the speakers, thank you for being here. We really value your presence. I think a huge round of applause to the speakers. This ceremony is also commemorating the 80th anniversary of the battles of Kohima and Imphal, of those who served in the 14th Army, and you will hear more from Viscount Slim in due course. Inside the roof of this pavilion are the names of the Victoria and George Cross winners. And there are 3 from my late father, Lieutenant General Faridun Bilimouria's battalion, the 2nd 5th Gurkha Rifles. There are 3 of them there. One was posthumous. 2 of them were won in the Battle of Imphal. And one of them I was brought up with from childhood, Agan Singh Rai and Gajay Gale, who won a VC in Burma. If you read just one citation of any of these individuals, it is bravery beyond belief. It is incredible what they did. So these noble souls, these brave souls, we salute you. We will always be inspired by you. And the Kohima epitaph, which talks about giving their today for our tomorrow, they gave their tomorrow as well. What these gates are about are, yes, remembering the horror of war, but most importantly, these gates are about peace. These gates are to promote peace, needed more than ever in our world today. And so Ben Okri is with us, and you see those wonderful words inscribed there, written by him: our future is greater than our past. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karan. How my mother would have appreciated your words and the memories that you're sharing today of her and of her work. In her final weeks in hospital, she spoke to me quite a lot about the memorial gates, which obviously she saw as her biggest and most significant legacy. They meant so much to her. I thought I might share some of those words and thoughts that she conveyed to me, which she did want me to pass on to you. She said, I feel so good that the gates will remain here as a symbol for a very, very long time. They remind us of what we really are, a country made up of so many nationalities and so many cultures who all came together to defeat Hitler. Not just the British, not just the Americans, but all of us from all over the world. You know, she hated that some people said at the time the gates were built that they might as well be in Leicester or Birmingham. That completely missed the point. It missed it by a country mile. The gates are here to remind us all just what the Commonwealth has contributed. It was not a sop to ethnic minorities, it's for all of us. Srila told me privately, and I think I can share this now, she said, gosh, it was very, very hard to get this done. I never thought we would really manage. So many times I thought we would not manage. And even at the very end, there was a big battle over VAT, and we just did not have any more money left. It so nearly scuppered the whole scheme. But there they are, with my dear friend Ben, Sir Ben Okri's words, beautiful words inscribed inside on the stones, inside the pavilion, the pagoda. She did say that she was very sorry that she could not make it. I mean, even if she'd lived, she could not have been here. But she did want me to tell you how proud she was, and especially how grateful she was to everyone who contributed and supported her for this project, as Karan has referenced. Well, not everyone, she said, and you could hear her laugh, that very infectious, loud laugh. Not everyone. I miss that laugh. It's painful. She had courage, she had humour, and she was always provoking, sometimes without limits. That was my mother. She was also immensely proud of this annual ceremony, which has now become a fixture in the calendar. And she was very proud of all the brave servicemen and women that this memorial recalls. And they included her own father, Aftab Rai, whom she discovered later on had taken part in the First World War as in the ambulance brigade. She was most impressed by all the Victoria Cross holders, indeed all those who had badges and rewards for courage. And many, of course, are inscribed in the pavilion or the pagoda. And this was her final word. She said she wanted to make this special message, but remembering that she was proud of all the soldiers and servicemen. She said, that she had a very special feeling for the Gurkhas. And we're delighted that a troop of Gurkhas have kindly agreed to carry her coffin at her memorial, which is just coming up. She said, "I really want to say how much I love the Gurkhas. They're such special people, always so brave, so loyal, always there to support others, and always there for our project. I feel so happy when I think of them. I think everyone does. We really must salute them. They are part and parcel of the Gates." Thank you very much. Now, it's moving for me to speak. So Ben Okri has kindly agreed, because it's a special occasion, just to read a short extract from his epic poem, Mental Flight, just to honour Srila.
It's a real honor to be here today, and also for me, personally, a very sad one, because Baroness Srila Flather was an extraordinary lady, well, we won't be forgetting her for a long time. This is for you, Srila. But will you be at the harvest, among the gatherers of new fruits? Then you must begin today to remake your mental and spiritual world, and join the warriors and celebrants of freedom, realizers of great dreams. You can't remake the world without remaking yourself. Each new era begins within. It is an inward event, with unsuspected possibilities for inner liberation. We could use it to turn on our inward lights. We could use it to use even the dark and negative things positively. We could use the new era to clean our eyes, to see the world differently, to see ourselves more clearly. Only free people can make a free world. Infect the world with your light. Help fulfill the golden prophecies. Press forward the human genius. Our future is greater than our past. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, on your behalf, I'd like to welcome the Viscount Mark Slim.
Thank you. I found that very moving and inspiring. I'm delighted to be with you all this morning, and I was so pleased when General Sir Evelyn Webb Carter invited me to speak at these wonderful memorial gates in the 80th anniversary of the battles of Kohima and Imphal. It is a very important milestone, and later this month I will be travelling to Nagaland to attend the commemorations there. I'm very pleased to be travelling there with two of my sons, one of which just happens to be named Bill, and also my nephew. In addition to the ceremonies planned in Kohima, we will also be taking part in a 76-mile walk, following the footsteps of the 1st Assam Rifles from Jessamy to Kohima as they fought a rearguard action against the Japanese prior to joining the battle at Kohima. They covered the distance in 39 hours, which we will be trying to emulate. They were carrying rather a lot more than we will be carrying, but it is one of the reasons why I'm taking some younger reinforcements. Now, why were Kohima and Imphal, and indeed the Burma campaign, so important? And why should it receive more coverage than it does? Burma was the longest and largest British-led campaign of World War II, starting at the end of 1941, involving at its peak 1.3 million men and women, and ending in August 1945. If the Japanese had prevailed at Kohima, the supply road to Imphal would have remained blocked, and the huge supply centre at Dimapur would have been captured, bringing 14th Army to a standstill and potentially defeat. The Japanese would have invaded the remainder of India, taking control of the country, including its substantial manufacturing capacity. In due course, they may even have moved on to the Middle East and challenged for control of oil production there, which could have had a profoundly negative effect on the fighting in Western Europe. The victory at Kohima stopped all this. Along with the eventual victory at Imphal, it was the turning point in the Burma campaign. From here, 14th Army went on to deliver to Japan the biggest land defeat it has suffered in its entire history. If the Allies had not won at Kohima and gone on to achieve total victory against the Japanese Imperial Army, many of the resources Japan poured into Burma could have been concentrated in the Pacific and made the island battles there even more hard-fought than they already were. So Kohima and Imphal are very important as they turned the tide, avoiding the potential disasters I have outlined, and thereby forming the path to total victory. Now, I said earlier that the Burma campaign was British-led, and so it was. But 14th Army was not a British army. It was made up of over 20 nations, comprising many different religions and cultures, requiring a huge variety of ration packs and speaking many different languages. They all fought together as a team, a huge multinational army, working as one in a common cause, determined to achieve the outcome they strove for together in their great joint effort. Another reason why more attention should be given to the Burma campaign, as it was the living embodiment and the best example ever of how multiculturalism can work so well. Over 100,000 of the troops in 14th Army were from West and East Africa, and 700,000 came from the Indian subcontinent. Indeed, and we've talked about VCs and how brave people were out there, but of the 27 VCs awarded during the Burma campaign, 20 of them were awarded to people from the Indian subcontinent, including Nayak Gyan Singh from the 15th Punjab Regiment, who fought quite heroically, destroying a Japanese position and an anti-tank gun, almost single-handedly, even though he himself was wounded. I understand that his son, Charanjit Singh Sangha, is here with us today, and I'm sure he is quite rightly very proud of his father's great achievement. There are several good books that describe so well the great struggles that took place at Kohima and Imphal. In my view, Robert Lyman and Fergal Keane have written the best ones. I would strongly encourage you to read them if you haven't already. They were brutal and desperate battles, fought by very brave and determined men in the most horrendous conditions against a very brave and fanatical enemy. All of us today should be grateful and proud of the victories won by the Allies in these violent encounters. Let us salute and be grateful to the participants of those great victories here again today. They deserve our eternal admiration and thanks. And Kohima and the Burma campaign is a great example of why these wonderful memorial gates are here today. over 5 million men and women from Africa, Bangladesh, the Caribbean, India, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka volunteered to fight alongside British forces in the two world wars. The memorial gates stand as a monument to reflect not just the tremendous role these volunteers played, but also Britain's gratitude for their vital contribution in its hour of need. We could not have won it without this help. I am proud to be with you here today to honour the men and women who chose to join Britain in its fight against tyranny and to remember with great respect those who gave their lives so that others could live in freedom. Thank you.
I would like now to invite the Bishop of Loughborough to lead us in prayer.
May we pray. O God of justice and mercy, compassion, truth and life, in these turbulent times with violence and loss once again on the forefront of world affairs, help us to lift our eyes in prayer above the torment of this beautiful yet broken world, as we particularly remember our mothers and fathers, siblings and friends from the armed forces of the British Empire, from Africa, the Caribbean, the 5 regions of the Indian subcontinent. Precious people, precious lives who served in the First and the Second World Wars. So today we remember in prayer Ype and Gallipoli, Somme, Mons and Verdun, as we remember the Western Desert, El Alamein and Normandy beaches, as we remember Coventry, Dresden, Hiroshima and the Burma Road, as we remember Korea, the Falkland Islands, Northern Ireland, the Balkans, the East Timor, Afghanistan and the Gulf, we hold before you the memory of 5 million precious lives. Their bravery is beyond belief. And today we remember in prayer their courage, their companionship, their ingenuity, their spirit of working together for a common cause. We remember the planning for a better world. We remember that peace would come as a result of their work. We remember the widows of all those years, old men and women from Burma campaign and battles of Imphal and Kohima, who never knew their fathers and their mothers. In the 75th anniversary of the Commonwealth of Nations, on this day, we ask that you will hold all those people from the Commonwealth who have suffered during war, those who returned home scarred by warfare, those who waited anxiously at home, those who returned wounded and disillusioned. We remember before you those who mourned and those communities that were diminished by suffering loss. Remember too those who acted with kindness and compassion, those who bravely risked their lives for their comrades, for those in the aftermath of war worked tirelessly for a more peaceful world. As you remember them, remember us, Lord. Grant us peace in our time and a longing for that day when people of every language and ethnicity and nation will be brought into the kingdom of peace and unity of Christ's kingdom. And in the words of Ben Okri, as we dream of a future of a greater that is of the past, we long for that day when you gather people from the north and the south and the east and the west into the unity of your peaceable kingdom, where there is security, mercy, freedom and peace. And as we long for that day, we in the meantime, may God strengthen and pilot us. May the wisdom of God instruct us. May the hand of God protect us. And as we recall the sacrifice of those precious lives of Africa, the Caribbean, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, and the Commonwealth, because for our tomorrow they gave their today. So as we look into the flame that is lit right in front of us, we are aware that we are guardians of that precious flame. May their memory shape our imaginations as you, O God, kindle in us a flame of love that will never cease, that it may burn in us, giving light to others. May we shine forever in your temple, set on fire with your eternal light, even your Son, Jesus Christ, in whose name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, as I call the names of the wreath layers, if you could get up from your seat, move and lay your wreath. Those who are sitting down, could I please ask you to shuffle to the left to enable those who finished laying their wreaths to join the other end of the row. Thank you very much. The first wreath, on behalf of His Majesty the King, Lord Curran Bilimoria. On behalf of the Lord Lieutenant of Greater London, Lord Curran Bilimoria. Sir Lindsay Hoyle, on behalf of the House of Commons. The Earl of Minto, on behalf of the Secretary of State for Defence. Viscount Slim, on behalf of all those who fell at the battles of Imphal and Kohima. Alison Johnston, on behalf of the Scottish Parliament. Edwina Poots, on behalf of the Northern Ireland Parliament. Miss Linda Atkins, on behalf of the Royal British Legion. Baroness Patricia Scotland, on behalf of the Commonwealth. I shall now read out the names of the High Commissions, 3 at a time. I'd be grateful if you could come up in threes. I do apologise in advance. This list was only firmed up at 10:20 this morning, so if I do miss you and put you in the wrong place, I do apologise. First of all, the Australian High Commission, the Bahamas High Commission, and the High Commission of Bangladesh. High Commission of Barbados, the High Commission of the Cameroons, and the High Commission of Canada. The High Commission of Cyprus, the Dominican High Commission, and the High Commission of India. The Jamaican High Commission, Kenya High Commission, and Malawi High Commission. The Malawi High Commission, the High Commission of Malaysia, and the High Commission of Malta. High Commission of Malta, the High Commission of Mauritius, and the High Commission of Namibia. The Embassy of Nepal, New Zealand High Commission, and Nigerian High Commission. The High Commission of Pakistan, the High Commission of the Seychelles, and the High Commission of Sierra Leone. The High Commission of the Republic of Singapore, High Commission of South Africa, and the High Commission of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. the High Commission of St. Vincent's and the Grenadines, Tanzanian High Commission, and the High Commission of Tonga. Representing the Chief of the Defence Staff, General Gwyn Jenkins. Representing the Chief of the General Staff, Major General James Senior. The 6th Gurkha Rifles Regimental Association, the Brigade of Gurkhas Association, and the Royal Gurkha Rifles. The 7th Gurkha Rifles Regimental Association, and the 2nd CMO Rifles. The King's African Rifles and East African Forces Association, the Punjab Frontier Force, and the British West Indian Regiment Heritage Trust. The 1st Queen-owned Nigerian Regiment, and the Royal West African Frontier Force. The British Sikh Association. The Cobra Foundation, and the Commonwealth Ex-Army Heritage. Commonwealth War Graves Commission, the National Army Museum, and the National Caribbean Monument Charity. The Rotary Club of London, the Royal College of Defence Studies, and the Royal Commonwealth Ex-Servicemen's League. The Royal Commonwealth Society, the Royal Overseas League, and the Victoria and George Cross Association. The Zoroastrian Trust Fund of Europe and the Zoroastrian Community. Ladies and gentlemen, those who have brought wreaths but are not on my list, please feel free to come forward and lay your wreaths. Thank you. People laying wreaths at the moment are those who've walked 100 kilometres from the Tatari in Brighton to the Memorial Gates here today. musicians and the two King's orderly officers. Please could you fall out? My lords, ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, that concludes the Memorial Gate ceremony for today. Could I please ask the Memorial Gate Council members to gather here so for our photograph, and the remainder of you to make your ways up to the refreshment tent where there should be some warm drinks to warm you up a little bit. Thank you.